Good morning, Sambanani Dumelang Abshin. Welcome to 5-Minute Sermons with Lindor. Yeah, I love that name. If you don't, then just bear with me until I find a better name. Today we're reading John chapter 5, verses 8. It says, "Then Jesus said to him, 'Get up, pick up your mat, and walk.'" May the good Lord bless the reading of His word. This is a very famous scripture. Jesus met a man who had been paralyzed for about 38 years at the pool of Bethesda, and he looks at him and then he heals him by telling him to get up, pick up his mat, and walk. Which is very interesting for me, because why would Jesus want him to pick up the very thing that represented the suffering and misery that he had faced for 38 years? Why would he want him to pick up the very thing that would remind him of where he had been for the past 38 years? Well, it dawned on me that Jesus was very intentional about this. He wanted to show the man that the very thing that used to define him no longer had the power to confine him. That the thing that used to carry him, now God had given him the power to carry it. Some of us have not been able to experience the healing that God has provided us because we have not picked up our mats. Our past traumas, our past hurts, the things that used to have power over us, we have not recognized that God has given us the power to overcome. In order for us to experience the newness of the healing that God has provided, we first need to recognize that He has given us power over our past traumas, power over our scars, power over the past, power over the things that used to exert control and held us captive in our lives. That's why Jesus says to him, "Pick up your mat and then walk," because in order for him to be able to recognize that he was now healed and could walk, he first needed to see that God had given him power over the very thing that had held him captive for the past 38 years. And in order for us to be able to walk into the future that God has laid out for us, we need to recognize that He has given us power and control over the things that used to hold us captive in our lives. So whether it was addiction, whether it was your mistakes, whether it's your traumas or your scars, whatever it is that represents the past, what represents your misery and suffering, that is holding you captive, keeping you from moving and going into the future that God has prepared for you, pick it up so that you may be able to walk. And I just want to add this very important point, that some of us would like to hide our mats. Some of us would like to discard our mats because we don't want the people to know where we've been, where we're coming from. But let me tell you something, some people knew this man by this mat. And if he had not picked up the mat, they would have passed him by on the street and not recognized what God had done for him in his life. And so he had to pick up this mat so that those who then see him and recognize him by the mat recognize that he is no longer the same person that they once knew. So do not hide your mat, because if you hide your mat, then you hide the good thing that God has done in you. Then you hide the transformation that has taken place in your life. So pick up your mat. Don't hide it. Don't hide your scars. Don't hide your mistakes. Don't hide your traumas. Because yes, the devil used those things to hold you captive, but God broke you free from those, and they are now your testimonies. They don't just show where you've been, but they show where God has taken you from. So pick up your mat and walk. Pick up your mat, because your mat is your testimony. So pick up your mat so that you may recognize and experience the healing and the newness of life that God has provided and prepared for you. Pick up your mat so that you may walk. God bless you.